one of the hardest things about growing up as a black person is you realize more and more as you get older how often it is that people mistreat you or do microaggressions and you were in the right the entire time. Anyway, so right now I'm on my way to go and get some coffee or a taco or something, like hungry as fuck. So I decided I was gonna tell you guys a story. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be eating. There's like a million places for me to eat over here. I could do like a Panko's situation or like sushi. I'm not really too sure what. So anyway, I started dating this girl and we always have fights, like arguments, whatever, you know what I mean? Like it was just never a good relationship. Fast forward 11 months into our relationship, and this is where we officially break up. And we're chilling and I'm talking to some of my friends in their dorms. This is in college. So I'm in their dorm and she's like, oh, I'm gonna go to back to your dorm to go pick up my journal or something for like a class. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So she goes and gets a journal. She comes back and she's like, hey, don't be mad, but I broke your computer. I think I'm gonna go and try and see what's up this way, even though I know it's up this way, but I'm gonna try and see if there's something that like catches my eye because I'm like so hungry, but I just really want a hot chocolate right now. So I was like, oh, what do you mean you broke my computer? You just went in there for like 5 minutes. And she's like, well, I was trying to get the journal, but when I tried to get the journal, I was like, your computer was on top and the journal was on the bottom, so I slipped out the journal, but your computer fell on the floor, on like the concrete floor. And she's like, don't be mad. And I was like, I'm not mad. Like, I know you're gonna like pay me back, hopefully, like, and like make this right. You know what I mean? Mind you, this is like November, so it's like final seasons are around the corner. You know what I'm saying? I go into my dorm after that and I like see how bad the damage is done, and like it's not too beaten up, like just a little cracked screen, but it's still working, it's functional, turns on, like whatever. Fast forward like the following day, suddenly it just doesn't turn on. The button, like the power button fell out, it didn't like turn on at all. So then I was like starting to worry because I was like, okay, well, it's November, final seasons are on the way, and I don't have a computer. Like, you know what I mean? So what ends up happening is we go to Best Buy like a couple of days later, and we're looking to like bring my computer, see how much I can replace it for, or how much it costs to replace the parts that's missing, fix the thing, not even fix the screen, just make sure it turns on. And if not, like if I can get like credit for it or anything like that, we go to Best Buy. The guy's like, hey, your computer's a little older. You know, it's probably worth like max like 180, you know what I mean, something like that. It's not enough to get a new computer really, and like there's no parts for this. Like you're gonna spend more getting the parts to fix it than it is to like get a new computer basically, right? So I'm like, oh well, fuck. So I turned to her and tell her, I was like, hey, if you can do like $200, let's call it a day and I'll figure out the rest to get a new computer, right? And she's like, right, okay, bet. I look around the place, there's not like good computers, there's like $99 computers, but she's trying to get me to like buy these $99 computers. But I was like, girl, I'm in college, like I need something that's gonna last a long time, because these $99 computers are gonna break down in like a year, you know what I'm saying? I'm like a sophomore in college at this point, so I was like, I need it to last another 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying? This lighting is so fucking cute. Look at my little hair. I'm trying so hard to get a coffee that doesn't support Palestine, and all I see is like Barnes & Noble over there, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, like whatever happened to mom and pop shops? Like what the fuck, bro? Like this is hard, but not that hard. I'm gonna definitely find a coffee shop that doesn't, you know what I mean, to support a fucking genocide. I end up just taking it upon myself to figure out how I can get this computer really fast. So I end up applying for a credit card. So I was like, okay, I'll buy a credit card and I'll just buy a refurbished computer off of Amazon, call it a day. You know, I try to figure it out. The cheapest I can find is like $500. So again, I have no money, so I was like, okay, well, I'll just use the $200 plus $300 on the credit card or whatever I'm approved, and I'll try to pay it off over the winter break, so I don't like fuck over my credit. You know what I mean? Like this is like my first time getting a credit card. Okay, so I wasn't able to like get anything but this gyro. It was so fucking good though. I also didn't get a hot chocolate, boo, because there's just Starbucks and Dunkin' around me. So I ended up just getting a sweet tea and a lamb gyro. It was so good, y'all. So like I said before, I ended up getting the credit card and just kind of like banking on the fact that I can pay the credit card off during winter break. I didn't give her a deadline on like giving me the money, but a couple of days later, she ends up giving me the money right before this birthday event with a mutual friend. And I end up just pocketing the cash. I'm like, cool, thanks, you know, awesome. Pocket the cash. I get back to my dorm. I just put it in my sock drawer because Thanksgiving break is around the corner, right? So that was my biggest mistake. I did not count that fucking money. I end up coming back to Thanksgiving break. I count the money and it's only $180. So I'm sitting, I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I'm like, I'm not trying to assume she's trying to stiff me or nothing. So I'm like, okay, it's $20 missing. So I text her, I was like, hey, are you aware there's only $180 here? Like, what's up? Y'all, you would not believe this. That gyro was so good, but I decided to like go ahead and try and go get a hot chocolate. It's like midday right now, Midtown. So anyway, I'm like, hey, are you aware there's only $180 in here? And she was like, yeah, I thought that's the amount that we agreed on. I was like, no, we definitely agreed on 200. Like, you remember this, right? And she's like, well, why do I owe you $200? Like, the guy really just said 180. And I was like, yeah, but we agreed on 200. And she was like, okay, but I don't feel like I owe you $200. And I'm like, so you did know it was $200. You just didn't want to pay me back, right? And she's like, do you want to explain to my parents why I should give you $20? And I was like, why would I do that? Also, this hot chocolate was mid. I don't know why every time I go to Dancing Goats, the hot chocolate is just lukewarm. It pisses me the fuck off. I thought I'd like show you guys how cute I was, but it was not giving. I look kind of awkward, so ignore this little footage. But anyway, I decided to take Marta, by the way, to get back home, even though I was literally like a mile out from home. I just did not feel like walking. At this point, I'm like, okay, in my head decisively, I'm like, we're not getting back together. Because I'm like, how is that we're almost a year in a relationship and you think it's appropriate to like not give me the correct amount of money and like stiff me? You know what I mean? Like, that's weird. So I tell in person, I'm like, hey, like, I don't think we should continue the relationship. Like, I feel like there's like a integrity there that wasn't met. And it kind of frustrated me that like I'm sitting here asking for $20. And I think she eventually ends up sending me $20, but I just sent it back because like, it was just like weird that I had to argue over $20 with a girlfriend I've had for a year, right? And her argument was like, oh, well, my cousin said if I broke her phone, she wouldn't expect me to pay for it. And I was like, that's cute and all, but like, this is final season. This is my computer. And also, your cousin's 16 and their parents paid for their phone. Like, please, so referral. My parents do not have money to like just buy me a new computer. You know what I mean? At this point, I'm getting pissy and we're arguing because I'm sitting here. I'm like, okay, here I am essentially paying for my own computer being broken that you broke and you're pissy over $180/$200. But here's the moral of the story. I end up telling our mutual friends about this and they blame me and they're like, okay, Brie, you did not have to yell at her. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, really? That's the takeaway. She literally argued over owing me money that over something she broke, a very important asset, my computer. But the moral of the story for my friends was, well, Brie, you just didn't have to yell at her. Like, that was inappropriate. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, really? That's the takeaway. That's what y'all take away from this. And if you want to know what tone policing is, that's what this is. Straight up. If you need a definition, this whole story is basically what that is. Also, why did I get back home and my dog was just asleep? Like, she worked 2 damn jobs. Girl, get up and pay the bills.